Justice League is the newest DCU movie, and to avoid any spoiler this time, I will not give out the plot summary. Now, this is a little bit different from my usual reviews I give recently. This one is not scripted because I actually have a lot of thoughts in this movie, and to just write the script down, it will take out some of the enthusiasm I had. So I'm just gonna go freestyle. So if there's a lot of pauses, just bear with me. I'll try to keep it short. Overall, I really love Justice League. It is the most fun I had since the Avengers. I think it's probably one of the best superhero movies I've seen this year, only followed by Logan and the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Now, I'm gonna get into my the Rotten Tomato thing in a little bit because I have quite a little bit of rant to complain. But firstly, this is not gonna be a spoiler review. There's no spoiler at all. So don't worry about it, because I want you guys to see this movie because I personally really enjoyed it, and I hope you would as well. The best thing about this movie is the cast. Ben Affleck is the best version of Batman I've seen in all live action or animated interpretation. He's charming as Bruce Wayne. He's strong as Batman, and you couldn't get anything more perfect than that. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman is charismatic, and if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, well, I think most of you guys have seen Wonder Woman. If you haven't, go see it. It's really good. But she is the pillar of the team, and she's kind of like the leader, and I'm really liking this take because it's good to see a female superhero stands in the league of superhero mostly contained by men. And there is a lot of her backstory. Like, everyone in the film has to cope with something. And that's what I like about this. Like, they all have some kind of a baggage, but the experience of being in a team greater than themselves help them to elevate. And I really like that aspect. And that's the same even for Wonder Woman, who we think has the most charisma and has the most is the strongest member. Even she has to cope with certain things in her past. Ezra Miller as Flash, I know he's gonna be funny, but he actually has some kind of layer. He has his own kind of charm that he brought to the team, and he was surprisingly good. In fact, all of the character was surprisingly good. The character surprises me most was Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher. From the trailer, he looks like a very dull character, but he actually has his own charm. He is coping with something he doesn't know, and throughout the film, you see him open up more and more and more and become more confident and become the cyborg we know as of today. And I really like this character development. Jason Momoa as Aquaman, he's a really fun guy, and there was a lot of like banter between him and the other cast, and which is surprisingly funny. Now, given the fact I cannot spoil anything, there's a lot of character development I don't want to review, but yeah, everyone in the film develops, and in some ways, I think it's kind of a better than the Avengers, because like in Avengers, there were some characters, plotline, I'm talking about the first Avenger. There was some character plotline that would be dropped, like Thor, Thor, Hawkeye. They all kind of they didn't went deep into them. I'm glad in this film, like everyone shared the same amount of screen time. Nobody is left behind. So yeah, I really liked it. The humor worked mostly. Like I can definitely say 90. To be a boredom. I am consistently enjoying it. Some of the flaws that some of the critics say, it has flaws. It's not a perfect movie. Some of the flaws, I really don't agree with the critics say. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think they're not that severe. They happen in MCU movies, but what's really ironic is that, like, if it's happening in MCU I honestly don't. Um, I felt like people were saying like, "Oh, this movie it's too much the same." But I was thinking like, right, Doctor Strange is literally a remake of the first Iron Man movie, just with magic. But do you hear people complain about it? You don't. Age of Ultron, that movie was a cluster mess. There were so many subplots. It's the way I told my friends, it was literally Iron Man 3 remake. If you stop and think about it, you got Tony Stark get panicking about the future. He made a lot of stuff, but his creation kind of backfired him. The villain, both in both Iron Man 3 and Age of Ultron, the villain used Iron Man's weapon against him in both movies, and at both movies Iron Man decided to retire. It's literally a rehash of Iron Man 3. When I first came out of the movie, I told my friends that. No one believed me. I seen it again and again, and I'm sure that is what's going on, and still no one believed me, because people doesn't want to hear what was right. I mean, it was enjoyable, but honestly, I didn't like that movie. Also, Iron Man 2 has an even messier plot. So, which leads me to another complaint. People say the film was messy. I disagree. I feel like the movie is very coherent, because you get characters from point A to point B. It's like things happen, they regroup, there's conflict, and at the end there's resolve. And I felt like, look, almost all superhero movies does that way. The only franchise that does it differently was Fox Marvel, was Logan and Deadpool. MCU used this formula in every single one of their movies, apart from Winter Soldier. So I don't understand why people were not okay with this movie, but they were totally okay with MCU. I'm literally getting sick of this. Like, look, I don't be with some people like either MCU or DC. I watch all movies, and I see pros and cons in every single one of them. Even Age of Ultron, that movie I didn't like, I would never flat out say, like, there's nothing redeeming about this film. There is. There are chemistry with the cast, but the problem I had was the writing. It was a mess. It was not Joss Whedon's fault, but it was more of a Disney's fault. So I really don't understand the complaints that some critics have on this movie. But the only legit complaint I would give to this movie was the fact, like, some of the scenes does feel short. This movie is under 2 hours. I felt like some of the scenes could have expanded a little bit more so that we can get a clearer understanding of what's going on. So if there's an extended cut out there, I would buy it. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's one of the best superhero movies this year has to offer. It's consistently surprised me every minute. It was fun. I had an amazing time, and I highly recommend it. It's not like if you're looking for some kind of movie that will change your life, it's not that kind of a movie. Like, you don't expect that. But it's a fun movie. It has good characters. It will leave you with a satisfying feeling. And that is not a bad thing. Seriously, that is not a bad thing. I really don't know what people expect from DCU. When they go dark, they have a really good character movie, Man of Steel. They have a very underappreciated movie. When they go dark, people complain. And then when they go lighthearted, people still complain. But the thing is, like, if it's, some people say, oh, it's the quality of the DC movies. Admit it, I didn't like Iron Man 2. I didn't like Age of Ultron. Thor: The Dark World has a lot of problems. All these movies have problems, and everyone give them a pass. So I really don't know why people hate DC that much. So my final verdict was 8.5. It's not entirely perfect, but I would buy Blu-ray to this movie. I would watch it again for sure. And that's my final verdict on this movie.